Guys, Tarke here, and today I'm doing a sort of basic bleed starter review slash template for Garth. Now, obviously, because of League Start, also Garth plays on Standard, this will be a fairly useful thing for anyone who's kind of thinking about doing this build, because I won't be including cluster jewels, but I will briefly mention the kind of things you could look for on cluster jewels. I use this as my SSF start. Towards the end of Delirium, I just restarted SSF completely, and I went all the way to tier 16 maps without an Elder Bow. You want an Elder Bow, but you don't need it. All of the core items you need, you can self-farm through div cards, and it's also pretty flexible in the fact that you can level as melee bleeds. So because you can level as melee bleeds, you can transition to bow bleeds, and just because of where it is on the tree, it's very flexible to transition into something else if you're not enjoying it or whatever. But it also does help that you get Split Arrow, Chance to Bleed, and Puncture, all in Act 1. So you get your core leveling kit at the very start of the game. So if, like me, you're so next level from your build from start to end, perfect. So let's kind of explain the base, and then where I would take it from there. So the main things you want to invest into is anything which gives you chance to deal damage with bleeds, faster bleeds, and just like dot multi. Physical scaling is important. A lot of people go iron reflexes. You don't have to go iron reflexes, but it's a very nice way of getting a bunch of armor early. Now, this is just the core base tree. You'll see it's like, okay, so you got all the life nodes. Where's your damage coming from? So Puncture just has very high base damage, and you just get as much flat fizz as possible. So until you get your Elder Bow, and the Elder Bow you're looking for, this is just like an example self-crafted one. You need an Elder eye level 83 bow. Citadel is the highest base fizz. Until you get one of these, you can choose a Lioneye's Glare, or just any high fizz bow. I just used a high fizz bow, because I never got my Elder Bow. When you do eventually get one, the way you would like to craft it is you want to hit Chance to Bleed. 6% chance to bleed effects will do 100% more damage. That's the core. And then you can just slap multi-mod on there and go for the crafted percent fizz and flat fizz. If you're playing in Harvest, then you've got loads of extra crafts there, and it'll be much easier to get these kind of bows. And then everything else is kind of basic. All the gear here is literally just what I had on my character in SSF. You can get dot multi on a quiver. If you can get it, great. If not, just go for flat fizz, life resists. Life resists. Flat fizz on gloves, attack speed on gloves, you can get it's great. Otherwise, life resists, and just life resists everywhere else. If you can get steel rings, you can get flat fizz on your jewelry, brilliant. Eventually, you would want a Rislatha's Coil if you can get your hands on one. It's basically like the biggest single increase outside of the bow when it comes to raw damage. I guess that and the Lioneye's Fall, which I'll talk to in a little bit. But again, you don't need it, but if you can get it, you can see it's just a 20% DPS increase. So, let's go through the base tree. So you're going to come through, I like to go through the attack speed, you can go through this way if you want. And you can see this is level 74 tree, so you either change, if you're going cluster jewels, then those points will go into cluster jewels here, cluster jewels here. If you're not going cluster jewels, then this is what I would do. I would start investing pretty heavily into Warcry stuff, because Enduring Cry is going to be broken. Enduring Cry is going to be really good. So you've got two options. You either invest into like Warcry speed early so that the cast time's faster, or, and this is what I probably recommend, just spend 1 point here and Call to Arms. Just 1 point, and then you get instant Warcry. Done. 1 point instant Warcry, as Pez. If you're not going for the cluster jewels, trim off that point. And I would also recommend this new cluster. So this gives increased buff effect. So this increases the healing. So if you have this full wheel, which you go buff effect to duration, and this, your Enduring Cry at level 20 heals you for 2.6k over 1 second. And you do like Enduring Cry, increased duration, second wind, and then link like your dash in with the second wind there. And then you just have like a big, easy sustained Enduring Cry uptime, and it's also got pretty good synergy with Outmatch and Outlast, because you gain 10% reduced physical damage taken while maximum endurance charges, which is even stronger. And they nerfed globally on the tree, like, just generic reduction to physical damage. So that makes this stronger in retrospect, because you have less available access to it, so it makes it feel like more rare. I'd also probably recommend taking Imbalanced Guard. Imbalanced Guard, the less armor you have, the better this is. Once you've got, like, too much armor, then you remove this. So basically, if you're, like, as a general rule, if you're probably, like, sub 30k armor, I would say take this. If you're above, don't. But you can try it out. It's easy, spec 1 point in, spec 1 point out. If you feel squishier, drop it. If you feel tankier, keep it. Obviously, these are your main damage nodes early. These 2 bleed nodes, that's it. You do not take Crimson Dance. 100% do not take Crimson Dance on bleed bows. It's really clunky. It doesn't feel good. You're, like, hitting once, then running. Mathel did a video on bleed bow a couple of leagues ago, and he, like, showed some endgame awakeners and stuff with and without Crimson Dance. You really don't need it, and it just genuinely makes the game just feel worse to have. So you don't want that stuff. Here, this is the main important thing, Lioneye's Fall. Lioneye's Fall is, like, the other really big DPS increase. You really want to get a Lioneye's Fall, so it's like Lioneye's Fall you can get early. The way you can get it if you're not playing in Trade League, the Lion card, if you go to, I can show you, Act 6. Mudflats Act 6, you go for the unique Queen mob at the far end of the zone. She can drop the Lion card. Only her, no one else in the zone. So you just run in, kill her. Did she drop the card? Yes. Yay. If she didn't, no, reset, and you just spam reset the zone over and over and over again. Farm those lions, and you want to keep doing it until you get Lioneye's Fall. And it's also worth farming, because the card can also give you Lioneye's Vision, which is a perfect early chest for you, for your split arrow for map clear. It can drop Lioneye's Glare, which is a perfect starter bow option for you. If it drops the boots, that's a feels bad, man. But if you get the chest, that's a yay. If you get the bow, that's a yay. And if you get the jewel, big yay. And what this jewel does is it converts nearby melee nodes to affect bows. So you can see here that you're now getting 12% increased damage with ailments. So 12% not at best. But then this is giving you 15%, 15%. And then this big node is giving you 10 dot multi and 30%. So this is a huge DPS increase. Then this wheel is giving you 14%. Then you're getting 12% attack speed, 12% attack speed, 12% attack speed. And then you're getting 25%, 8% attack speed, and onslaught generation. Perfect. Here you get 15%, 15%, 15%. This node doesn't get hit, but it still gives generic 30% increased damage with hits and ailments against bleeding enemies. So it's just generic 30%. And bleed you inflict to deal damage 15% faster. And you can see this one single node is a 20% DPS increase with my current gear levels. Otherwise, come up, grab Resolute Technique, and now you're sorted. So, again, if you don't have Cluster Jewels, at this point, I would say just invest heavily into Warcries, Chase Life. You can change your tree slightly, and take these points. Deadly Draw gives you some bleed stuff. Otherwise, I would anoint Deadly Draw, but if you're not going Cluster Jewels, or you don't have access to them, then you've just got more points to spend. And yeah, you could maybe experiment with a tree that comes across and grabs Wind Dancer and takes Thick Skin. Wind Dancer's pretty strong. It's kind of good with Iron Reflexes because it gives you more evasion rating if you've been hit recently. So it's like if you get hit, then you gain like a boost, and if you haven't been hit, you get damage reduction. I think it's something you can definitely experiment with. However, you won't really be able to afford that if you're going heavily on the clusters, because you can see the story level 90 tree and you want to go big. If you do get your hands on some cluster jewels to give you some ideas of the kind of nodes you want to be looking for, you've kind of got two options, and these are a pretty good example here. So if you're large, you either want the bow ones, and you'd want Tempered Arrowheads, which gives you 10 dot multi, some skill effect, and increased duration of ailments. This gives you some mana leech. You want some mana leech somewhere on your character. Lioneye's Vision has 0.4 inbuilt. You can get it on jewelry, and if you route across this way, you can put 1 point here if you can't get it on any of your gear. Otherwise, you can get it on Cluster Jewel. And then they've actually changed medium, so I need to actually double check these. I'm still not up to date on all the cost jewel changes, so let me have a look, see what they've done. So, Circling for Oblivion they hit, but I believe, yeah, Render's still fine. Rend still gives you the 12 dot. And Wasting Affliction, yeah, Wasting Affliction and Render's still fine. So those are the main two you'd want to go for. And then for your small jewels, you either go for Life, or you can go for Elegant Form, because Elegant Form gives you chance to avoid ailments. And it's also worth noting that if you do end up in this part of the tree, they buffed these nodes. These also give chance to avoid ailments. So these 4 points gives you 20%, so that's 20% chance to avoid ailments. You then had that and that. That would be 20, 50, 80, and then you just need 20 remaining somewhere, which you can get in a few places. You can get it on the skill tree, or you can get it as a crafted mod on helmets, gloves, and or shaper boots. But yes, I'm Tarke, and that'd be my very sort of basic setup. In terms of like links and skills, your main DPS single target, Puncture, Brutality, Chance to Bleed, Deadly Ailments, Vicious Projectile, Swift Affliction. The Cilium helmet, which comes from Delirium, that is a very good option if you want to go crazy on the DPS. You don't need it, but that will then scale you into the ridiculous numbers of one-tapping bosses. For map clear, use either Split Arrow or Rain of Arrows. Personally, I prefer Split Arrow. Some people prefer Rain of Arrows. Try both to see which one you prefer. And you go for Split Arrow, Brutality, Chance to Bleed, Vicious Projectiles, Deadly Ailments, Swift Affliction. You want Pierce somewhere. You can get it from Lioney's Vision, or you can use the gem. That's one of the advantages of Rain of Arrows, that you don't need it. You can also put Maim on here if you want. Pride, War Banner, Flesh and Stone. If you have a Watcher's Eye with increased dot damage, use that instead of the Pride. And then Ensnaring Arrow, Vulnerability, Maim somewhere. But anyway, I'm Tarke. Have a good day. Experiment with the new war cries, by the way. Bye-bye.